It takes a lot to stand up to a bully. It takes even more to stand up to bullies who've been elected to public office and play God with their position. Terry Zimmerman and Brad Corkill are getting paid nothing to represent you and to try as they can to save North Idaho College from disaccreditation, the path that the Kootenai County Republican Central Committee rated and vetted clown posse are marching on. Before I show the August 31st meeting, lowlights, some background to help you understand what could be going on. From the March 28 edition of Coeur d'Alene Press, Swain responds to attempted reinstatement reversal. At the bottom of the article is this bit. Laura Rumpler, NIC's Chief Communications and Government Relations Officer, said Swain directed members of his cabinet not to respond to direct questions from NIC's Defense Counsel and to instead communicate with counsel through Garcia, that's Sarah Garcia, NIC's financial director. Swain said he did advise Rumpler to act with caution and avoid creating potentially discoverable documents, not in relation to his own lawsuit against NIC, as Rumpler insinuated, but regarding the separate lawsuit the Hagedorn Corporation, the Coeur d'Alene Press, has filed against Rumpler and the college, which alleges violations of Idaho's public records laws, and she was found in violation of those laws at a later date. Ironically, Dr. Swain was actually providing information to help Ms. Rumpler and the rest of his cabinet, which has now been weaponized and distorted to obfuscate the true nature of those interactions and fabricate an argument for unclean hands, court documents said. Reading between the lines, I guess that Ms. Rumpler, NIC's public information officer, and Dr. Swain had words. Ms. Rumpler is a staunch Republican. She's no doubt friends with Trustee Banducci and whiny attorney Art Mackomer. There's another $400 for you, Art. In the college realm, Ms. Rumpler works for the college president, Dr. Swain, and not for the board of trustees. I hope she didn't need to be reminded of that. And if she were informed of such, would she consider that on-the-job harassment? We'll never know. But claiming a hostile work environment could be the basis for last Thursday's emergency NIC board meeting. From the Coeur d'Alene Press, August 30, 2023, Rumpler resignation announced. Attorney Art Mackomer informed NIC President Nick Swain and college trustees Monday that Rumpler notified him she would be resigning effective September 8th, the college confirmed on Tuesday. This is important to note. Rumpler informed Mackomer, who then informed the president. I'll touch on this again later in the video. Continuing from the article, multiple sources have indicated to the press that the personnel matter under Mackomer's purview is related to Rumpler and may involve allegations of retaliation against her by Swain. Her annual pay increased to $133,794 effective June 19 of this year. Remember that number, $130,000 annual salary. This week, NIC announced an emergency board meeting on Thursday, August 31st. The purpose of this meeting was to discuss a personnel matter in executive session, which is allowed by Idaho code. But they didn't go into executive session, as they need 4 votes, and Heroes trustees Corkill and Zimmerman voted no. So the actual meeting started at 6:30, where a discussion took place regarding the personnel matter. No public information suggests that Laura Rumpler is the person involved, yet that was the consensus of the crowd as I sat and watched the meeting unfold. At the start of the meeting, our KCRCC clowns launch with a violation of the open meeting law by handing out a document they have, but the president and other trustees have never seen before.
All trustees and president, you should have a piece of paper in front of you regarding, do you have the piece of paper? Everyone has a piece of paper?
I don't. But
no, I gave him the time. Okay, let's hand it out.
The paper obviously deals with the settlement of the personnel matter. Listen to the motion requested by McKinsey.
I need a motion to authorize Art Mackomer under direction of the chair to negotiate terms of settlement for presentation to the board for board approval.
The chair, McKinsey, will personally direct his pal NIC's mediocre attorney Art Mackomer. This isn't a board decision. It's authorization to have McKinsey by himself make a decision outside of the public and without knowledge of the full board. It gives him sole authority. Listen to it again.
Authorize Art Mackomer under direction of the chair.
Enter Trustee Corkill with an obvious question and start the McKinsey interruption counter.
how can we settle on something that so far isn't really defined as an issue? At the very best, we have a mere accusation. And to settle on an
So,
accusation.
Trustee Corkle, this is not to directly approve a settlement, because you're right.
No, it's to authorize you to settle. It's to authorize you to negotiate terms of settlement.
Do you not see that it comes back to the board for approval?
Yeah, I see that. but
Okay, so
why would we even negotiate something like this? I mean, it's a mere accusation. I mean, why negotiate?
Sir, if you want to talk about this in executive session,
No.
then we can go into executive session. But
I
this is
know
a
what the
personnel
two
issue.
I know what the two issues are before the board right now that require executive session. Executive
If you would
session
even
meeting.
not even list the number of issues before the board, that would be appreciated.
Enter Terry Zimmerman with logical arguments and continue the McKinsey interruption counter.
You don't negotiate terms of a settlement for an accusation, for something that is unfounded. We have an investigation underway. We don't have
Okay,
the results
all
of it.
of
Now
this-
you're going to interrupt me? I'm sorry, I'm still
All of
talking.
this could have been
What-
said in executive
It does
session.
not
Is
need
how
to
a
be said
functioning
in
board can
executive
work.
session. I have every right and was elected to say it in an open meeting. Are you going to continue to interrupt
You
me?
have a fiduciary duty. You were dealing
You
with
have
highly
a
paid
fiduciary duty.
individual duty.
All three of you have a fiduciary duty.
We're dealing with all highly paid
Will
individuals.
you please quit interrupting me?
Let's hear that again.
Will you
Individuals?
please quit interrupting me? Thank you.
Will you please allow
If you
discussion in
were-
executive
It's
session?
obvious that you're afraid of what I'm going to say because you're trying to shut me up. Thank you, Greg. Now I'm going to continue. You don't negotiate a settlement for an unfounded allegation. These claims by this person are unfounded, and I think that when we get the results back from the investigation, there probably will be proven that they're unfounded.
And of course, Lord McKinsey doesn't listen because he's a rude little jerk who is the model of the rating and vetting and what it means when the KCRCC hands out their cute little card. Obviously, more is going on here than we're being told, but I can piece together that this person is most likely a friend of Macomber, perhaps even a client, a relationship that's placing the college at financial risk. And if my guess is true, then aren't these trustees using their authority to provide financial benefit to a friend on the back of the taxpayers? Is this how the KCRCC rated and vetted elected officials operate? Giving jobs and money to their cronies? Has that ever happened before?
And then if you're going to ask Art to do it, well, I think he's got a big conflict of interest in this case. I don't think he should be the one working with this particular employee at all. There are two places where he has a conflict of interest.
Remember, according to the Coeur d'Alene Press, when Miss Rumpler filed her original complaint, it was Art Macomber who delivered it. I'm unsure if this is one of the two conflicts that Ms. Zimmerman refers to, but these are legitimate questions. In case the KCRCC hasn't heard, let me state a tradition in this country. It's illegal to use your government position to give public money to your friends.
And who brought it to insurance?
They look into the claim like any other insurer.
And if you were in executive session,
Greg, quit throwing that in my face.
Zimmerman has reached Christiewood levels of engagement when battling a tyrannical chair, and she's right, too. When McKinsey is caught doing something bad, he interrupts her. And he throws back that the discussion should be held in executive session. He's boringly consistent on this point, and he's wrong. Thank you, Terry, for shutting up the little twerp. But she's not done yet.
I'm going to just unilaterally disclaim any conflict of interest, and if you want to go make your case in public, you
Okay,
can do
so
that.
you're working to defend a person who's bringing a suit
Trustee
against the college.
I'm
You
actually
should
not.
not be
I don't know where you get that
participating in
idea. I don't know where you get that
Trustee
idea.
I'm not the only one that has that idea.
Well, it's a wrong idea. I cleared it up with Marie Dolan at the press today, and she thanked me for
I
clarification.
don't care what you say to the press.
okay.
Oh, you
so
do
you're going to
care
stick
what
to
I
the
say.
motion before the board?
It's hard to fathom, but McKinsey here is showing that he's smarter than Macomber, which isn't much of a stretch. I wish he would have let Macomber dig that hole. But no, what comes next is horrifying.
Let's just let things unfold as they are. I don't know, does anybody want to open their bank account? I think the sum, can I say the sum? $1.3 million?
Remember that Laura Rumpler's annual salary is $130,000 a year, and 10 times that is what? $1.3 million. That's $1.3 million taxpayer dollars allegedly given to a crony in what I believe is a setup designed to get President Swain fired. The crux of the motion Banducci made is that they want to give the person $1.3 million before the investigation is over. Listen to what Macomber says here.
It is usually proper from a legal perspective to enter into negotiations on claims prior to litigation. And as you know,
But there's
the
no
college has already
evidence.
under
It's
extreme-
allegations.
Well, you can have your own opinion on the evidence. Everybody does, and that's fine. That's why we wait for the investigation.
Brad Corkill catches the inconsistency.
Mr. Chairman,
Gorkel.
did I just hear Mr. McAmers say that we wait for the conclusion of the investigation before we do anything?
Colton Boyles said there and said nothing. Now, I'm okay with Colton Boyles saying nothing. I'm just not okay with him being paid $275 an hour to do it. Here's the vote.
All those in favor of this motion say aye.
I have another thing to bring up. You're going to negotiate what terms, Art?
Under direction of
gonna-
the chair.
No, it didn't ask you that. It said
Thank you.
You're
All those in
negotiating-
favor say aye.
You're negotiating a dollar amount? Is that what you're negotiating?
Usually with people that take leave of an institution, there are various terms. Financial terms is only one of them. So I don't know the scope and
This would be an
extent of the
appropriate
terms they might be
topic
asking for.
for executive session. All those in favor
not
of this
gonna
motion
happen.
say aye. I'm hearing,
Aye.
Aye.
I hear 2 votes for aye. All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay, the chair votes aye. The motion passes.
Coeur d'Alene Press, September 1st, 2023. Details of NIC staff issue emerge. Karen Hubbard, NIC's Chief Human Resources Officer, advised President Nick Swain by letter Wednesday that her final day of work will be September 27th. My decision to leave is a direct result of the decision of the board on August 23rd to hire legal counsel, Colton Boyles, lacking the qualifications sought by administration and against the recommendation of the president, Hubbard said in the letter. This action made it clear that the college will not have access to legal resources needed to mitigate risk to employees and to the college overall for the foreseeable future. As I said in my last rant, the issue with North Idaho College's accreditation is board governance. We may never know for certain who the employee is that apparently lined up to receive a $1.3 million check courtesy of the KCRCC rated and vetted trustees on the back of the taxpayer, but it certainly smells dirty. And the connection between Attorney Macomber and the unnamed individual is obviously an issue. What happens next could be even worse. If my theory is correct, Banducci and company will pin the blame for their outrageous settlement on President Swain. They set it up, they knew about it, they railroaded it through. Now they're going to blame the president and possibly once again seek to have him removed. It wouldn't be so obvious if these guys weren't so damn corrupt and stupid. And the KCRCC wants to put more of these corrupt clowns on your school boards, city councils, and fire districts in the November election. Everyone hang tight.
Thank you, Greg.